Hello, everybody. I just wanted to make this short video on monopolistic competition. This covers section 2.11.6 on your cognitive. I hope you read, you've already read that, but this is just going to quickly go in and give a quick revision over that. So we're on to our last type of market structure. So we've already seen the two at the extreme, the monopoly and the perfect competition. Perfect competition, great for consumers. It's very efficient as well. It's got the allocative efficiency and the productive efficiency. So we'll talk more about those in a second. But productive efficiency just means you're producing at the lowest point in your average cost. Allocative efficiency just means the price is equal to marginal cost. And you'll see that's the ideal market situation, perfect competition, and no other market gets to that situation. So you would have seen in monopoly, price is greater than marginal revenue. So therefore therefore price was not equal to marginal cost. We didn't have allocative efficiency. And we are never at the lowest point in our average cost as well. And you'll see monopolistic competition shares a lot of these characteristics with monopoly, but the difference is it's a very, very competitive structure with lots of small firms. Your textbook cognitive will refer to monopolistic competition as one of the realistic market structures, and indeed it is. So monopoly and the monopoly that we look at, this pure monopoly, it's unrealistic. We have markets that are almost like monopolies, but none are quite like what we have in the textbook. And perfect competition, that doesn't really exist in the real world either, although we have some industries that are some situations that are pretty close. Anyway, onto this one here. It's called one of the realistic ones along with oligopoly. Monopolistic competition, a monopolistically competitive market structure is one in which there are many small firms. So it's different from so remember, oligopoly, a few large firms. Here there's many small firms, all selling similar but slightly differentiated products. And this is the key thing. It's not so think about it. Why is it different from monopoly? Why is it different from perfect competition? It's different from monopoly because it's not just one firm, it's many small firms. It's different from perfect competition because they're not selling the same product, they're selling similar products, but these products are slightly differentiated. A good example of this type of market structure is clothing. So clothing, similar products being sold, but a pair of jeans or pair of trousers, functionally it does the same thing, but of course it's branding and style which makes it different. It's a very competitive industry, and the only thing that really differentiated, for example, t-shirts from each other is the branding. And I know branding is probably really important to you guys, but I mean, the functional objective of clothing, I guess, keep you warm or keep you decent. That's just basically, I mean, a t-shirt's a t-shirt. Entry to the industry is fairly easy. This is another important characteristic. Remember, monopoly, entry to the industry is impossible. Other firms cannot enter. So therefore, in monopoly, firms can make a profit and they get to keep their profit. Well, for monopolistic competition, entry is fairly easy. So if firms are making this supernormal profit, what will happen? What will happen is that other firms will come in and enter. There's a short video, a short link here on monopolistic competition. You can go and have a click and have a look at this one here. You can just see it I'll upload the notes separately. You can have a look at that. Branding means that firms in monopolistic competition face a downward sloping demand curve. Okay, this is really important because the branding creates because it gives these firms some market power. It gives their product a bit of distinction, and because of this, they face a downward sloping demand curve. Your cognitive textbook lists all these as examples of firms in monopolistic competition. Think about why they are. Like, for example, let's just take Adidas. It's for a lot of the products they do, I mean, they're I mean, the exact same products that other sports companies produce, but they're slightly differentiated mainly because of the brand. Same for Levi's, a pair of jeans, and so on. Compared to Monopoly, and notice the difference here. Demand is fairly inelastic due to substitutability. So the demand curve for monopolistic competition, it's more elastic than the one for Monopoly. So as you lower the price here, you can gain a lot of output, or if you try to increase your price, your output will fall by more than say what's a monopoly. So the difference here, demand for monopolistic competition, when you're drawing it, just draw it more elastic because of the substitutability. Remember, there's no substitutes in monopoly because there's only one product. In the short run, it is possible to make profits. So remember this economic profit we talked about. We talked about this economic profit before. And so this is basically here, you know, notice again, exact same production decision. So how do we draw this? We draw the elastic demand, we draw the marginal revenue beneath it because it has got some market power. Then you draw in your marginal cost and your average cost curve. Remember, this is the point of production efficiency. Q, how do we know this is where they produce? Because this is where MC equals MR. And at this level of output, we can see the price. We can just go up and see what the price is. And we can also see what the average cost is. And then the profit is just going to be equal to this in the short term. However, we know that there's free entry and exit. So what's going to happen? Where more firms are going to enter, this is going to reduce the demand for the individual firm. So this is the demand curve for the individual firm. But in the market, more firms will enter, and this demand curve is going to shift down until we end up in a situation like we have over here. So in the short run, here we have the profits prices above average cost. Then the demand shifts down. It shifts down right until price is equal to average cost. So firms will keep on entering until they erode away all the profit. And then so the best way to draw, I mean, the trick of drawing this one here is you have to make sure your MR equal to MC point. This is the same point where the price is equal to average cost, the same quantity. So, I mean, what happens in monopolistic competition? Again, you know, it's realistic, but this idea of the firms not making any profits, this is in the long run, this is unrealistic. But why is this model useful? I mean, it captures in the short run this idea that you know, firms, by being able to differentiate themselves, they can make profits. But what's realistic about it? I mean, maybe it doesn't go down to zero profits, but firms can come in and replicate, because essentially these firms, I mean, if you think about it, a clothing company, they're not doing anything unique. So it is quite easy to enter that industry. And if it is easy for firms to come in and compete and so on. But these companies then can spend more on branding and advertising. The companies are already in there, and this can help keep their profits positive. But in terms of drawing this, again, in the short run, I mean, actually, usually way to draw your AC MC curve first. Make sure you have this point as the lowest point on AC. Draw in your demand curve, your marginal revenue. Draw it quite elastic, because it's elastic demand for monopolistic competition. Notice in the short run, there's profits. Then in the long run, more firms enter to keep on entering until they erode away all the profits. Demand curve shifts down until this point here. The production decision point is the same, or sorry, is the point where price equals average cost. The two things about efficiency. The monopolistically competitive firm is not productively efficient. Productively efficient just means AC equals MC. You're producing it at this point here. So if this firm was productively efficient, it would produce a Q2 where MC equals AC. Remember, the beauty of perfect competition is all these things are equal. Price is equal to marginal revenue, is equal to marginal cost, is equal to average cost. This, in perfect competition, the firm is productive, efficient, and allocative efficient. So remember, productive efficient, are they producing at the lowest point on their average cost curve? No, because they're going to produce Q1, and Q2 is where they're productive efficient. This is actually in the long run. In the short run, they're not productive efficient either. Are they allocative efficient? The answer again is no. Allocative efficient just means price equal to marginal cost. This is our, essentially, the supply and demand curves we looked at the very start. So you see here, they're not productive efficient because they're producing MC equals MR, and Q2 is this point here where MC equals price. Price is just equal to your demand or average revenue. So monopolistic competitive firms are not efficient. Here's a summary table comparing all three. You look at the price in perfect competition, monopoly, and monopolistic competition. I like the way this is done here. So it's lower at the average total cost. So in perfect competition, it's the lowest price possible. The price takers. Monopoly, high price because they get the market power. Monopolistic competition, this is the kind of realistic real world. It can be high in the short run, but as more firms enter, it becomes lower. In terms of choice for the consumers, consumers care about choice. No choice with a monopoly, large choice in perfect competition and monopolistic competition. In terms of the output produced, there's a smaller output per firm, but it's overall they produce the efficient amount of output. In monopoly and monopolistic competition, they have market power. They have an incentive to restrict output so they can increase price. So both these structures will produce less output than what's allocatively efficient. And then in terms of allocatively efficient, does price equal marginal cost? Yes, perfect competition. Monopoly is never, and either is monopolistic competition, never in the short or the long run. And productive efficiency, in the short run, it is possible for perfect competition to be not to be productively efficient. But then what happens is either more firms will enter or other firms will leave, depending if it's making a profit or not. And in the long run, it's always productive efficient. Whereas for these two, it never is. I think this is a really good summary table of this here. So have a look at this table, and we will discuss it in a little bit. We'll discuss it just after Christmas, when we just take a quick review of this stuff here. Okay, guys, that's it. Merci beaucoup. Thank you.